deselect this, add my two other layers, similar way. So here's this layer here, putting the little eye on it. If you're doing things that are very, very close up, the other thing you can do is to zoom in on it. If you don't want to use the zoom in tool and you're using the tablet, you can also use this little part here, this slider, so you can make it as big as you want. Now that this is much larger, it will make it easier for me to highlight those areas. So I'll just go ahead and highlight it. And how about if we go with a color like that? And we'll push OK. There we go. So it's pretty bright. And I'll add my last color in a moment, which is going to be this. And I'm thinking we could try this in a yellow. So we'll select it. And again, go to colors. We could try this. It might look very awful, but we'll see. Now we can go brighter. It's kind of cool. All right, now, at this point, I've gone ahead and filled in all my layers, sort of creating a new image, but realizing that I've also shut this one off behind here. And now this is the color image that I initially had created as a live trace. The other thing I can do, and right now my background image, not much is going on, it's just white, but I'm going to unlock it so I can actually use it. And I think that I'd like to actually have a background that was a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do is, again, with my background image being highlighted, change the color, and I am thinking of almost doing a color. I don't know if this is that close to our first color or not. Let's try that. And I'm just going to do a general paint bucket on my background, which isn't really showing up that much. But if I wanted to, I could take this layer here and I could try it to see what happens if it's in multiply, which really dramatically changes what I'm doing. Or what I also could do with it is to play around with the opacity of it so that more of the image from the brown underneath is starting to show through, so that my image ends up having a very antiquated feeling. At this point, if I wanted to make a silkscreen of this image, I would go through all my different layers to record what the different colors are so I could match them with the Pantone system. So as an example, let's say I choose this image, and I'm going to shut off my other one so I can actually get a sampling of what my color is at this point. And let's say I want to see what that color is, so I'm going to go to the eyedropper tool here, and this color will show up right here as a sample. Click on that, go to my color libraries, and again I want to look for Pantone solid color, coded, and here's the number, so that I would look in the Pantone book to see that these corresponded. In order for me to make this a silkscreen, what I have to do is to take each layer and put it back into its solid black format. So because when I'm burning it as a photo silkscreen, the machine will only read it as a solid black. So as I've colored all these, what I would just go back to do is just go to each one. For example, if I wanted to choose this one to go to, I would highlight that layer, which I have, and go to my highlight tool, click it on, and go back down here, and I could find black, which is right. Oh, wait, let's cancel that. Just switch this in here. And using my paint bucket, I would go ahead and make it all black. And by the time I was done, I would make each of my images black and go ahead, and they'd all look as one big black mass when you'd see them instead of the way that they are now. But what I would do is then create film positives of each layer and print them according to the way that I have it set up here, in the way that these different layers are all designated. So again, what I've done is to take a map form and kind of build on it in my own way by showing different live traces and using the different live traces with my different presets to create somewhat abstraction of the initial image that I started out with. So, and then you can, go ahead and save your image as it is if you want, and you've created a very unique image using all these different presets. So I can just do File and Save, and you can save it as a PSD file or a JPEG file. Probably a PSD file is even better.